Alright, so at the end of the last video, we pretty much completed all of our inking, and then we started to move into Live Paint Bucket. And now what we're going to do right now is we're going to kind of modify it a tiny bit, and we're going to basically bring in our color palette. We're going to be coloring using the Live Paint Bucket, and we're going to do a couple different things first. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually select everything. I'm just going to expand it for right now. Hit OK, and that's just going to finish up the Live Paint Bucket. So we already came in and we filled in our black. What I'm going to do is come up to Pathfinder, and I'm going to unite everything. So all of the black areas are basically going to merge together and unite. Alright, so next, I'm going to select. Let's come back over, and we're going to go Live Paint Bucket. We are going to go Make, and our Live Paint Bucket is hanging out K, or sometimes it's just hiding under the Shape Builder too. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go File, Place. You just go and check out the description, and we are looking for our beaver palette. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to come over and grab swatches. Alright, so all I'm going to do is take my eyedropper, go purple. You can already see that I previously did it. Eyedropper, and I'm just dragging over those colors. I think I need that one. Do our green. Good. So now I can get rid of that, and they're all hanging out over here. Alright, so now we can have some fun. So we're going to go K, which is our Live Paint Bucket. And the first thing we want to just do is kind of just establish colors. So that's really, these aren't going to be permanent. We're going to be adding a lot of our gradients back on top, but just so we can kind of start seeing where our colors are hiding out. I might even lighten that one up. Let's just lighten him up for right now. Now our goal for the Live Paint Bucket is, what we're going to do is we're basically creating shapes so we can color all of this later. So even white areas, anything that you want to have control over, we want to be filling in with the Live Paint Bucket. So we're just going to click, click, click. I might even speed this up in the video. So even little tiny holes, I want to make sure I'm filling those in. Alright, good. Let's just do that for now. Not the same color. I'm going to come back in and we'll change up some of the nose. But for right now, I say we're probably okay. Let's fill that white. Alright, other little things just to remember. Fill in your white areas. White, white, white. Alright. I'm going to go pretty dark brown. Now if you can't fill stuff in, or if there, so let's say right here, there's some gaps hanging out. If you can't fill everything in, that's not a big deal. We can always fill it in later. There are other ways. I just want to make sure that everything gets kind of a color though. Okay. Alright, so let's select it. So we're going to go Layers, Object Expand, And that's just going to finish up the live paint bucket. Okay. So first thing I want to do, I could basically fill that in. Now if I miss anything, we're going to take our color, we're going to drop it right under our brushes here. So let's do, I'm doing my brushes above, and I didn't color that one black yet. So there's our black, and then let's just lock that guy out. Alright, good. So color layer. I'm going to zoom in. I missed Shift B. It's just a blob brush. So I'm just looking for little areas that we missed. Eyedropper, brown. Shift B. Now this, just so everyone is aware, right, it is going over. So this is the color layer. Since we have a nice brush or inking layer above it, we can pretty much beat it up a little bit more. Okay. Now I am not a big giant fan of that color as it stands right now, but we're going to be adding a whole lot to it. So here we go. Everything is pretty much colored out. So now we're going to start doing there's three things we're going to start adding. Number one, we're going to start adding any variation. So let's say the inside of the nose here, I want to switch that color. I want the nose to be a different color. And then I also want some cast shadow, so we're going to add that. So we're going to use our knife tool or a saw tool, and then we're going to actually come back in and do some gradients later. So this is what I want you guys to do. Since we want pretty much gradients going over all the big shapes right now, I want you to duplicate this out. Just say gradients. Alright, and then we can basically hide that. So it's going to be gradients on top, and then this is the one that we're going to start to modify. Alright, so just kind of do that. We're going to come back to it, and it'll make more sense. But if we start chopping everything using the saw tool, we're going to want the kind of the clean one back. So just kind of be aware of that. So I'm going to be on my, let's just lock out that color layer. Good. So let's just zoom in. Alright, we are going to come in under eraser tool. Here is our knife tool. So I'm going to select it. Let's ungroup it. Ungroup. Ungroup. Sometimes it's 3. I don't know why. But what we're looking for is we want to be able to select each one of those shapes. So now if you say, hey, I wanted this to be a different color, we can just come in and flip it out. Okay? So then it's got its color. So now for the nose, I'm going to use my saw. Notice that this shape is selected. And I'm just going to start coming in. And that's going to come through here. And then we're going to come in and we're going to try and match this up to the bottom of the nose. Now as long as you go through these red areas, I should be able to go black arrow. Let's just deselect. And now I should be able to come in and say, hey, here is my nose. And now I've got a separate shape. So rather than coming back in with a pen tool and all this other stuff, I think that's a pretty easy way of kind of modifying stuff up. Next, I can come in and I want the face to be a little bit of a lighter color. Okay. Now I want this shape over here. Let's just zoom in. So I want most of these shapes to be pretty dark. So I'm going to select this one. Let's come back to our saw tool. So notice how there's this gap. So I just want to start in the middle. I'm just going to go straight over through. And now I can grab this one. And I wanted that one to be darker. Just looking for any other little thing. Maybe we'll do something with an ear over here. Alright, so I'm going to black, select it, saw, and this will actually move right into kind of our cast shadow area. Now these colors are going to get modified quite a bit still. Let's see if I missed it. Let's see if we can show you one where I missed. Alright, so I missed that one. Select it. And we want to just double check that we do go through the red. Now I can come back in. And now I can color it. Alright, so let's do some cast shadows. This is where I'm going to come back in, kind of that darker brown, I think. And then we're going to do our gradients. So here we go. Let's do some body. Let's go saw. And just kind of think of what would be, this is going to be our shadow areas. So maybe underneath. And then I'm going to come back up. So notice that I started and ended through the red. Click off. Now I can come in and select that. What are we thinking? I'm thinking darker. Good. Let's go saw. I'm going to come through here, through that. I'm going to come up and around. So notice how I overlap. Missed it. Let's do it again. There we go. And I'm definitely not in love with the color yet, so we are going to definitely modify that. But the process is still going to be the same. Saw. Let's do up through here. And let's do a little shape right through there. I think I want some on the opposite side, so I'm going to select that shape. We've got our saw. Let's just do, let's pop it over there. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, let's just select these guys. Alright, saw. Kind of the under half of that shape is going to be darker. Okay, good. Holding down shift, by the way. Let's grab this one. Let's do a little, the nose is going to cast some shadows. Saw. Right through there. Let's go hit this one, hold down shift. I'm going to save that color. Alright guys, what do you think? We have a beaver. I say we do it. Let's get crazy here. So we're going to do cast shadow, kind of under the lip here. So we're going to have to grab all of these shapes. Shape, shape, grab that shape, grab that shape. And we're going to go saw, and let's just mimic that lip. And then we're going to come in right through there. Click off. Let's make it black. Why not? Why not? All right. So let's do save check. File save. All right. So this has just been adding values. So just little tidbits as we were going through here. Number one, we did full colors first. Now, if you're having trouble selecting things, right, there's a possibility that there's not a color down. Now, other little things, if you're seeing any gaps, you can always come over and just unite, and that'll start filling in any holes. So if you say, hey, there's a little funky little line through here, you can always just come in and unite those shapes. So now we're going to come in. Now we're going to come back and do our gradients. You're going to go, oh my gosh, what had just happened? So we're going to lock this one off. We're going to do our gradients. Now the gradient layer is going to be transparent, so it's going to shine back through to the stuff we just did. So everyone relax. And so what we're looking for is, let's do body first, and this is where I get to hopefully change up some of that color. Alright, looks good. So let's come over to gradient. Let's do a radial gradient. Obviously our colors need to change. What are we thinking? So since it's transparent, let's do 50. Let's make it a darker brown. Okay. And then let's make this one, I don't know if I'm going to want that green. Well, let's try green to purple. Let's test that out. Let's just see if that makes me happy whatsoever, or if it's just the grossest thing of all time. It's getting there. Not awful. Not awful. All right. So a couple different things. So notice that we have dropped the opacity. So if I say transparent gradient, all we're doing is we're knocking down that opacity. So the higher these are up, the more they'll actually start showing. So I can say, hey, I want that to be 60. But we still have that cast shadow still hanging out. Another little area, I think I'm going to do another cast shadow right behind that leg and that foot. I think that would be kind of a fun area to do. So we have everything colored with a gradient right now. Let's just click off. Now I can come in and say, where do I want this highlight? So let's put it on his belly. So I control how far out. I can control how sharp, if I want the transition to go way farther out. So let's just plop that there. Now I can do this for each one. Come back over, gradient, put that on its forehead. Let's just zoom in. Let's just click all of those. Right there. Let's pull that out. Good. Shift, shift, shift. Alright, let's zoom out. I'm going to delete those. Man, he's getting adorable. Just adorable. Alright, so I'm going to grab this guy. And I think I can just delete that. So let's do our layers. This is our gradient, keep in mind. I'm going to lock that out. And now I'm on the bottom layer. So remember, we've got transparent gradients up here. Here's our base layer. So I'm going to select this. And what I'm looking to do is do that cast shadow kind of behind the leg there. Let's go back to our saw. And I might have to do this in chunks. So let's just kind of plop that right through here. I'm not going to do anything in the feet, but I just want to... Okay. Good, good, good. Well, how fun is that? All right. I say we do a little cast shadow under the ear here. And remember, there's a cast, or there's the transparent gradient layer above it, so that's why it's not doing the exact same colors. Alright, so since I do want this to have a gradient, this is what we're going to do. Notice we're on the bottom layer still. We're just going to add the gradient to this layer. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Control C, Control F. So all I did is I copied and pasted one that's directly in front of it. Okay? So I still have my normal one. I'm going to come over. Where's our gradient? Good. Do want it to be radial. And I just want that kind of hanging out right on. Okay, let's just switch up this color a little. Alright guys, save check, file save. Well, I might fudge with it a tiny bit more, but for the sake of argument, we've got a beaver. So things that I would definitely be doing, let's go file save. Let's just double check that we don't have any of that showing. Alright, so the layers that I do have is my inking still on top. I've got my transparent gradient, and then I've got my color layer. So let's just go file save for web. We've got ourselves a beaver. Save. Beaver! There we go. So, I think for the sake of argument, we're good to go. So, if you guys like the tutorials, make sure you guys are subscribing. Definitely check out the other cartoon tutorials that we do in Illustrator. Most of them, if not all of them, have the little template that you can follow along with the inking, so you can actually follow directly along, and we can get a lot of stuff done. Just double check some of these hairs might kind of modify in some of the thumbnails, and I might also add a little bit of a darker brown or a gradient to the tail. So that's some other little things that I would probably continue on with, especially in this. So I'm going to probably add stuff here, and I'll probably add maybe a different value to that little piece, and then probably come back through and modify some of these hairs a tiny bit. But other than that, I think you guys have a pretty good start to this beaver, and thanks for hanging out.